Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television here in Lagos. Here are the stories they're making our headlines at this hour. Federal government considers more reforms for the prison sector, denies jailbreak in Kirikiri prison in Lagos. Bayelsa State Chief Judge Kate Abiri releases 3 inmates on compassionate grounds. Nigerian Navy seizes 3 barges carrying about 100,000 liters of stolen crude oil in Rivers State. And fears mount in the United States as health worker who treated Thomas Duncan is infected with Ebola. All our top stories can be found on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. If you're on the move, you can log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device and download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. We also encourage you to interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS, and Windows 8 platforms. So if you have pictures or videos that you'd like to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. The Nigerian Navy shipyard Pathfinder in Rivers State has again made good its promise to come down hard on illegal bunkers and other sea robbers. This time, the base captured over 20 wooden boats and 2 barges containing about 100 liters of substances suspected to be crude oil products. It also uncovered channels through which these bunkerers lay their pipes to siphon petroleum products in Bodo and Bolo creeks in the state.
Armed men of the Nigerian Navy on a gunboat set for an operation in Bolo and Bodo creeks in Rivers State. The mission is to destroy 20 wooden boats and 2 barges containing petroleum products captured on a routine patrol along the waterways by NNS Pathfinder and reveal channels used by oil bunkers to siphon products. Given the nature of the operation, inflammable substances are used until the materials give in. Head of Operations, NNS Pathfinder, says this is a regular exercise carried out by his men.
The fight, as much as we get feedback from the oil companies, particularly the multinationals, our presence along these waterways has made a lot of impact in terms of reduction in the crude oil theft. Statistics have shown right from the beginning of the year it has been on the decline. And this can be attributed to our constant presence along the waterways. We go after these guys, we get them, and those that we can arrest, we get them arrested and hand over to the relevant security agencies. Where we don't get, we destroy whatever we're able to get.
According to him, environmental impact of their activities is unavoidable.
As much as possible, we get it into particularly the vessels. That's talking about barges and the boats. We throw them into a relatively safe area whereby when we set it on fire, everything will burn to ashes without affecting the immediate environment. But for the ground storage facilities, there is virtually nothing we can do. The environment has already been damaged. So it is what you meet there on the ground. You just have to destroy it immediately because you cannot be moving ground storage facility.
While the Nigerian Navy continues to fight illegal maritime activities, some say the waste of resources and impact on the environment remain issues of concern. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
On to politics now. The All Progressives Congress candidates, General Muhammadu Buhari, today stormed the Lagos House Marina, accompanied by party bigwigs, including Chief Tony Momo, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and Alhaji Aminu Masari. General Buhari, who is visiting the all APC governors, says he's in Lagos to personally inform and invites Governor Raji Fashola to his declaration for the presidential race. Humbled by the gesture, the Lagos State's governor thanked the elder statesman and his entourage and wished them well in their endeavor. General Buhari is expected to declare interest in the party's presidential tickets for the 2015 general elections by Wednesday. Meanwhile, the Southern Taraba Youth and Elders Forum has called on the People's Democratic Party in the state to allow a level playing field for all participants in the forthcoming primary rather than handpicking any candidate as the party's flag bearer in the general elections. Speaking to journalists in Jalingo, leader of the forum, Stephen Nyapuri, observed that internal democracy should be allowed to prevail in the party primaries as emphasized by the president and national leadership of the party in order to avoid rancor within the party. But the Southwest Zonal Congress of the People's Democratic Party ended in Ibadan, Oyo State, with protests over its outcome. At the Congress, new officers led by National Vice Chairman of the Southwest, Makonju Ogundipe, from PDP Ondo State, were elected to coordinate the affairs of the party. The 10-man executive committee also has 6 zonal official members and 6 national ex-official members. The voting process, which was conducted by the national executives, was witnessed by INEC officials. The Congress, which took place at Apex Multipurpose Hall, Ibadan, is being challenged by the former governor of the state, Mr. Christopher Akala. Reports say Mr. Akala was angry when his candidate from the zonal youth leadership position was dropped by the Congress leadership. While the delegates from Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Ekiti and Ondo states voted, the situation was not the same with delegates from Oyo State. We turn to national issues now. Patriotism is not blind, but how Nigeria will shape up for current and coming generations is in our hands. They're the words of the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Reverend Father Matthew Kuka, speaking to a body of Nigerian professionals and businessmen in Johannesburg during the weekend. The clergyman spoke on a number of topical national issues at the events tagged the Nelson Mandela Legacy and Leadership Summit.
The event, the first in the series, focused on leadership issues in Africa, taking notes from the late icon Nelson Mandela. The guest speaker, the Catholic Bishop of the Sokoto Diocese, spoke on leadership challenges on the continent, which include a lack of leadership mostly, a lack of interest in industrialization, and a problem with management of diversity. On Nigeria specifically, he touched on a number of topical national issues. On the handling of the Boko Haram crisis, he asked all Nigerians to be more creative and constructive in criticism.
I think that we cannot lose faith or accuse government of not doing enough. Because how do we measure enough? Our freedom must be freedom to act and talk responsibly in the best way that we can help our country. We cannot make ourselves the laughingstock of the world.
On the riddle of the private jets, the president of CAN, and the stash of cash in South Africa, he says,
I've not seen the arms, I've not seen the cash, I've not seen the plane. So how am I going to make a comment? Okay, but I think that it is also important that we who are men and women of faith, I think the lesson here for us is that we should learn to rise above the fray of politics. We must understand that proximity to Caesar comes with consequences for every religious leader.
And on the success of the upcoming elections in the country, he asked all citizens to take charge. And to Nigerians abroad, he threw a challenge.
Your major contribution should be, again, emphasis on processes that can help us get the kind of outcome that we want. And I would like to say this of Nigeria: do not judge Nigeria by its successes. Judge Nigeria by how many times it has fallen and gotten back again.
Betsy Dibia, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Archbishop of Abuja and Primate of the Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, has advised Nigerians to work towards building a united country devoid of tribalism and ethnic affiliation. Speaking in Abuja at the official flag-off of the 25th anniversary celebration of the Anglican Church in Abuja, Reverend Oko said issues of tribalism have negatively affected the growth of Nigeria as a nation. The Archbishop also reiterated the need for all Nigerians to turn a new leaf in order to fast-track the country's growth.
The challenges affecting the nation, which is affecting the country, affecting the challenges of the country affecting the church, is the issue of tribalism, the absence of unity. You will agree with me that today we have a country, but we are not very united. If we are united, our country would have made more progress. So in the church, we want to emphasize it, we want to teach it, we want to make everybody accept it and give it as a gift to the nation.
From mid last year to the early part of this year, the Islamic sect Boko Haram at different times has launched severe attacks on 4 schools in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, killing several students and teachers. The state has been battling the high rate of educational backwardness after these waves of attack. However, efforts by concerned authorities seem to be improving the situation. Our community reports tonight examines the state of education in Yobe.
Pt2, now you're talking.
From Damaturu, Mamudo, Guja, and Bunin Yadi, learning activities have had to be put on pause owing to the several attacks by the Boko Haram on schools. And for those who sustained injuries or went unhurt during the attacks, their hopes of continuing with their education is being rekindled. Reconstruction work is ongoing in the schools attacked.
We met in Bauchi, those of us in the northeast, on about 15 schools. And we came up with our communique, which I think we have given to the media houses, that we expect the federal government to provide security to all the schools in Nigeria so that our kids can go to school. We don't want to keep our kids at home. We want them in school. And we feel the federal government is capable of providing that required security. So parents generally want their kids to go to school. This is the truth. Because after this thing, you will have expected maybe parents to be thinking of withdrawing. No.
When we paid a visit to GSS Mamudo and Damaturu, where a total of 55 lives were lost in the Boko Haram attacks, learning activities have resumed. And as all destroyed structures are being taken care of, the fear is how much security is in place for the students and their teachers. The State Commissioner for Education says there's an assurance by security agencies and the government to perform their constitutional responsibilities.
We cannot afford to deny our children education. We must open our schools. The teachers must come. The students must also come, live in these schools, and get the knowledge we want them to get. And we have been telling the security agencies to provide that security around all our schools. And in all our efforts, most of the schools we renovated, or all of the schools we renovated, we have fenced around these schools, which were hitherto open. You can enter from all directions into these schools. But now we have fenced these things around and left only one gate, because in the schools we renovated, we said they should put not only 2 gates, but 1. There should be only 1 exit for each school.
Some of the students applaud the efforts of the government for the intervention. They say life must continue as they can only put behind them the memories of the horrific attacks.
We are very happy about the situation where we get ourselves now, because we are very peaceful in our area, and we were safe. We are protecting ourselves from any strangers.
And as peace returns to Yobe State, residents say their eyes are on any suspicious persons or movement for immediate information to the security authorities.
Etisola, now you're talking.
When the News at 10 returns, traders in Oba markets in Benin City seek state government assistance in solving the no electricity situation. That's in a moment. Please join us again.